Mustachioed long hair here. Now, it's been a while since I've been on the Mexicans channel. That's because I've been chasing another target. Regan has gone into hiding, and I'll get back to her at some point, but she's going to have to be put on the back burner. All right. Now, going from one person that's hiding to another person that's been hiding in plain sight, I've got you in my crosshairs. The Sasquatch that is of the Caucasian variety. Now, I know that you're not who you pretend to be, sir. So guess what? You're next. I've got some pretty interesting intel on the mighty Caucasian Sasquatch. So watch out, sir. In the coming weeks, I'm going to expose you. I've got plenty of evidence to prove that you are not who you are. And your hair and mustache and beard are terrible. I'm out.
Feel right now. And I understand that things might feel crazy these days. It's just as chaotic as everyone in this world says. I try to hold my breath and hope that everything is a phase. Otherwise, then I'm the one that's insane. Or maybe that's just what they want me to think. Or maybe I'm just paranoid and that's what I think. But I don't know though, I'm just rolling over now. 'Cause I don't know what is going on, but I don't feel right, I don't feel right. And I know that something's wrong, 'cause I don't feel right, I don't feel right, no.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. No, that's not supposed to go there. Jesus.
Lots of people want to hear from your business, but
I see what happened. Well, that sucked. All right. So let's try this again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Caucasian Sasquatch Show, where Sasquatch says nobody cares. So I kind of did a clickbaity kind of thing, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it a bit. It's a completely legitimate claim. Do the best I can to try to either get the creator of the channel or at the very least someone involved in the channel's creation, if at all possible. And well, I think I've managed to do that today. I've got Tom from An Abstract Look. He has done some of the illustrations for Hammerson, and we're going to be presenting Hammerson's content just as if he'd show up and talk to us, which apparently he doesn't do. So that's the way we work it. I wasn't really prepared for like a pre-record, but I figure we'll work with it, see what we come up with. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It go terribly wrong. It's already done that. So I think we'll be good with it. So let me bring my co-host for the night up if he's apparently hiding. Also typing. That man types like a machine gun. That is amazing. So let's go and see who we got all in here. First person that chimed in was Robin, just Robin. She says she loves Hammerson Peterson's videos. I agree. I have been a fan for a long time. And we got ATL Auditor, U.S. Constitution. He's in here. Seems to have a lot to say about things, especially the good vibes type. I'm doing pretty good, brother. How are you? Cheese Bear's third in here, not counting myself and Mr. Tom, of course. How are you doing today, brother?
Living the dream.
Living
got some pizza.
Just got some pizza. Right on time. Awesome. All right, so basically what I've got tonight is after contacting Hammerson, he basically asked me what would I ask him if he was on live, and I was like, well, I don't want you to put a whole lot of effort into it because the idea is to kind of get a peek behind the veil of the creation of videos or whatever, and or the creators themselves, the channels in general, and their content. So he put together. I asked him a handful of questions, and he put together about a 15-minute video responding to each of the questions. I'm assuming he did his own artwork and did his own score and all of that. It's pretty much exactly what I asked for. And every time I sat down and tried to think about how I would edit it to release it, I thought about cutting it into shorts. I thought about all kinds of crazy gimmicky things. And when it came down to it, I was just like, well, that's not really what I wanted it for at all. None of that stuff. What I wanted, what I would like to have had would have been even a blind interview would have been fine, where he just had his say and left. I'd been fine with that, but getting this is about the same after a consideration. And I was like, okay, well, then that's what we'll do. I've got something no one else has seen. I've seen it. I think it's really neat, but I figure we'll let you see it and see how you feel about it. So that way it's a reacception video. I've seen it. You haven't seen it. These people haven't seen it. Some of these people have never heard of Hammerson Peters. And by the way, he does an audit, Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers. He does a narrator and storytelling channel on YouTube. He also has some other stuff on other platforms, but as far as YouTube, he does North American, primarily Canadian myths, legends, folklore, yellow journalism, and pre-colonial trappers' tales and stories, what we would call folklore here down in the South, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I know. We're going to check him out, see what he's got going on, but we're going to open with Tom. I'm going to let him take a second as soon as he finishes his big old bite of pizza there. That looks good, brother. You're good. You're good, brother. Actually, we can go ahead and play the first bit. Oh wow, I'm missing people. My bad. We got Cheese Bear, of course. We got ATL Auditor, the Robin Just Robin. Where was I at? Mr. Self Destruction. Greetings and salutations. We have Ellie. Hey, I'll see her often. We have you're still a mod, right? So you should be able to throw links up when you want to. Yeah, okay, maybe. I think so. All right. Mexican long hairs in here. That's cool. I like that. He's famous.
We've been emailing him.
Yeah, you should talk to him. Y'all get along famously.
Oh yeah, we've been talking.
Northwest Sky Auditor. Now Northwest Kentucky audits. Is he a mod? If he is not a mod, he should immediately become a mod. He's going to be coming on the show at some point. Slow down. There we go. Congratulations, you've got a rank. Use it wisely. Okay, I think that is everyone. I see a Doug back there. No, I did. All right, I'm caught up. Cool. Okay, so we've got an abstract look. Mr. Tom, how are you doing this afternoon? You good?
I'm doing fantastic.
That is awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been kind of frazzled. I went ahead and paid for the StreamYards package so that I could do like multi-streaming and whatnot. And I've been up tinkering with it for the past couple of days, and I haven't really made heads or tails out of it because I prefer the free format that I have in OBS over the very regimented control mechanisms for StreamYard. And the combination really does plays hob with my sound. And nothing I can do seems to be able to alleviate the issue. So, yeah, wits end kind of thing. I probably got 6 hours of sleep the past 3 days.
Oof. No
I just
thanks.
keep trying to think my way through it. You know, it's just not really happening. So, here you won an award, brother.
Yes, sir, I did. It was the People's Choice Award at the local gallery I had my showing at for the month of November. So basically, a bunch of people came in mostly on opening night and put names in the jar of what their favorite painting was, and mine came out on top. And it's the first award I've ever won for my artwork. So I was super psyched.
That is awesome.
Thank
I'm
you.
very proud of you. Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Hope that makes you feel a little bit vindicated in your choice to throw paint at a canvas.
Of course.
Strange choice. Go with it, man. You do you. You know how I feel about it. I support you. It's your channel. Don't let anybody bully you into doing anything you don't feel like you should do. Not even me. Don't let that happen either, because it's just a suggestion, man. I'm like, hey, if you move that, it'll whatever.
Oh yeah, the suggestion to have the two cameras was super helpful too. And
Oh yeah, once you get a grip on multiple filming, multi-angle filming, it's a lot easier to think about when you think about in 3 angles, 2
oh yeah,
angles.
for sure.
A lot easier to deal with. So where do you want to start with this? Do you want to start with the video? Do you want to do your channel pitch? Have you posted your link in chat yet?
I have not. I can
Okay.
do that. How about you show the video and then I can slam the rest of this pizza, like hide
Okay.
myself for like 2 minutes and then.
A little solo thing, and I'll let you go at it.
Hey, Caucasian Sasquatch, this is Hammerson Peters, and I'm looking at the questions you sent in your email, and I was initially planning to answer this in a more polished way.
Is that echoing? Because it looks like it's echoing on the meter.
I don't hear any echo.
You don't hear an echo.
No.
Okay. Does chat hear an echo? I don't know. Do we hear an echo at all? I can't tell. Okay.
I don't hear an echo. Nope.
Fantastic. But like I said, it looks like it's echoing. So if it starts echoing, let me know. Or if you can't hear this happening, I need to know that too.
But I'm going to try to do it off the top of my head, which is something I don't do often because I'm not very good at it. It's the reason I don't do interviews ever. I could talk forever about, how I got into what I'm doing right now. But it's not a very interesting story. It's kind of interesting to me, but I'm sure not to your listeners or many other people. So although I could talk forever about that, I think I'll leave that out. What is my channel about? It's my channel is about Canadian history and folklore, kind of leaning more towards the folklore now than the history part. Although history is what kind of got me into all this stuff. So yeah, it's basically exclusively Canadian. We talk about Canadian ghost stories, Sasquatch stories, monster stories, folk tales, legends, that sort of thing. Kind of tales of the unexplained. I currently, I have my own website, which is hammersonpeters.com, and I currently own a website for which I once worked called mysteriesofcanada.com. Do I have any future events or...
Okay. I'm going to cut that a little short there. Now, one of the things you notice about his content, you see the pictures that are going on and all this stuff. How a man could do that, I still haven't figured it out. Maybe when if I do figure out how to, not necessarily, I don't want to copy what he's doing, but I really like what he's doing, and I love the transition methods and the fades and whatnot. It's I don't know, it's just well paced, well timed, well executed. And even if the art isn't exactly top tier off the shelf, it's serviceable and helps to tell the story, and it certainly sets a mood. I dig it. I mean, somehow I don't think I'm alone in that. 46,000 other people seem to agree with me. So figure there's at least that. Where did it go? Where did that place?
Canadian. We talk about Canadian ghost stories, Sasquatch stories, monster stories, folk tales, legends, that sort of thing. Kind of tales of the unexplained. I currently, I have my own website, which is hammersonpeters.com, and I currently own a website for which I once worked called mysteriesofcanada.com. Do I have any future events or plans? Right now, one project I've had on the back burner for like a year now, or more, is the Ogopogo. That is a legendary lake monster said to live in Lake Okanagan in British Columbia. And the reason I've been working on it for so long is that I have a problem. I can't start working on something until I really have what I think is a good grasp of the context surrounding it, the subject. So in the Ogopogo case, right now, there's this fur trader who worked in the area, the general area, and I just want to see if he has any, if he wrote any stories in the Ogopogo. And there's a very good chance he didn't. But before I even read his memoir, I need to know who he is and his place in fur trade history. So he worked for a company that I don't know very much about. It's called the Pacific Fur Company. It's an American company founded by a guy named John Jacob Astor. And what I do know about the company, I know a few things, but John Jacob Astor hired Washington Irving, the famous American writer who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle. He hired him to write a history of the Pacific Fur Company called Astoria. So I have to read that. So I'm not going to start on the Ogopogo till I write about this fur trader, who may or may not have anything to do with the Ogopogo story. And I'm not going to start on the fur trader till I read Astoria. So that's one of my problems when I work on things. I have to know the context. But yeah, that's on the back burner. I have a pile of stuff from Gary Mangiacoper. I'll tell you a little more about him in a bit. I just have books and books and books and books. I could do this forever. I never run out of material. I have a lifetime supply of material on Canadian stories. I just need the time to research right and the.
We have the man himself in chat today. I'm gonna continue the video, but he's in there if y'all want to poke at him and have some fun. He's already been modded, so don't poke at him too much. He has the power.
Worst part is not the worst part. The most time-consuming part is narrating, editing my narration, which is always such a grind. I'm so bad at it, and then making the animations and the video. It's a process, but I will never ever run out of material in the foreseeable future, at least. Ask me to mention any channels I think are underrated by the algorithm. I should probably give a shout out to my friend Kevin. My friend Kevin is, I gotta be careful what I say here. He is very interested in the Thunderbird legend. And Kevin has a new YouTube channel called Thunderbird Photo, one word. And I'll send you the link to his channel so you can check it out. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. We've worked together on different research projects, and he's working on something that I think is going to be really, really cool in the Fortean world. Fortean being unexplained phenomena. What other questions you got here? Where do I find my stories? The Oak Island story that I spent a long time researching and writing about was suggested to me by my former employer, the guy who wrote, or the guy who once owned mysteriesofcanada.com. He suggested that I write about it because his most popular articles on his website were on the Oak Island subject. So that's where I got that from. And another big project of mine was Legends of the Nahanni Valley. And I first learned about that one, I think, by reading an article on a website called, it was either Mysterious Universe, or it was another one called like the Wormwood Chronicles or something. I kind of read articles on the Nahanni on both of those sites roughly the same time, and I think it was 2016. And I couldn't believe that nobody had written about it, you know. I mean, people had in the past, but it was kind of forgotten. by the time I found it. No one knew about it, which was, I thought it was nuts because there's so many cool stories from the Nahanni, these really, really cool legends, and they were just kind of forgotten. So that's when I wrote my book, and I think it's starting to make a comeback, and I think maybe I'm tooting my own horn here, but I think I have a hand in the comeback a little bit of the popularity of the Nahanni legends. When I was researching my Nahanni book, which I did that basically throughout 2017, it was about a year-long project, I ended up finding something directing me to a guy from Connecticut named Gary Mangiacopra. And I sent Gary I had a mailing address, and I sent him a letter, and I got one back. And I was asking about, if he had any sources on the Nahanni legends, and he was amazing. This was my introduction kind of into the Fortean community. And I've got to say, I've written this in my books a couple times, and I've said it before, but it's totally true. The Fortean community has some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. They are so generous, unbelievable. There's some pieces of work too, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of very, very good, nice, generous people. And Gary is the top. Ever since he's sent me so many of these, he has this big archive.
Now, I'm not sure what this is running along next to this truck, but it's probably one of the creepiest illustrations I've seen. There's one other one where it's like this weird jelly creature thing that he's done that just, it's the stuff of nightmares, man. Just the lack of form involved just really just, ooh, boy, it makes my skin crawl.
He's a collector. He collects these old magazines and newspaper articles about mysterious things, mysterious phenomena. And he has sent me so much really cool Canadian material. Basically, my entire Mysteries of Canada Volume 1 and a lot of Mysteries of Canada Volume 2, those are two books I've written, are based on or inspired by material that Gary Mangiacopra sent to me. And I'm super grateful for his help. I couldn't have done what I have done without him, to be honest. And I still have a stack of material. I'm looking at it right now that Gary sent me that I haven't even gone through yet, because I have so much material. I could do this for the rest of my life. I will never run out of stories on Canadian mysteries. There are so many. I have just stacks and stacks of books, tons of Gary's material, and there's all sorts of gems in First Nations ethnologies. They're filled with all sorts of cool stories, legends, and same with academic articles. There's a lot of scholars like folklorists who have written about, for example, about the legend of the Nakanni or the Sasquatch, or witch stories or ghost stories, all sorts of different folklore. You can find that on JSTOR. And every time I say this to people, every time I tackle a project and I research something, a certain subject, in the process of researching that subject, it's like a hydra. I'll find 4 more different stories that I had no idea about. Sometimes 4 new realms of material I had no idea about, which is why I'll never run out of stories, because it's every time I tackle one subject, there's 3 or 4 more that I'm introduced to. What's my personal favorite story? Jeez. I mean, if a general topic can be a story, I'd say probably the Nahanni legends. Those are my favorite. I think those are really cool and very underrated. For those who don't know, there's a place up north in northern Canada. It's in, there's the territory, the Yukon Territory and the Northwest Territory and British Columbia up north there, kind of near the junction of it in the British Columbia quadrant. Sorry, the Northwest Territories quadrant. That's the southwest part of the Northwest Territories. There's this valley called the South Nahanni River, which flows into what is called the Liard River. And the Liard flows into the Mackenzie River, which is this big, big river that flows out of Great Slave Lake into the Arctic Ocean, goes all the way north. And anyway, in the Nahanni Valley, the valley of the South Nahanni River, there are all sorts of very, very cool and strange legends. The ones that really got popular back in the early 1900s were these 2 brothers named Willie and Frank McLeod. They were Métis, which means they were part Indian and part white. They ended up going into the Nahanni Valley to look for gold, and there are so many different versions of the legend that I hesitate to put any date on it. But it was in the early 1900s, and they went up there to look for gold, and they never came back. And their brother Charlie went to go look for them, and he found them headless on the banks of the South Nahanni River. And ever since, it's been called the Headless Valley, and there's been more prospectors who have lost their heads up there. There's legends of prehistoric monsters that live up there: dinosaurs, woolly mammoths, giant wolves, giant bears, things like that. There are ghost stories. There's the story of a lost gold mine the McLeod brothers are said to have found up there when they went up there before their deaths. And the natives and people would always say there is the wind would always howl through the valley, and people thought it was an evil spirit that was kind of making the howling. And there's also the legend of the Nakani, which is a basically the northern version of the Sasquatch, and many, many more legends. Very cool place. How long does a finished video take? I couldn't give you the hours, but it really, really depends, because there's a couple different steps to the process. You have to, first of all, research your story, which could take forever. A lot of times there are these kind of projects that are on the back burner that I have, like little files I have of bits of information I find in one book that it's not enough to make a whole video with, or a whole article with, but it's like something. And every time I'll read a new book and I'll find a little snippet that I can add to it, I'll throw it into the file. And when the file gets sufficiently large, then I'll make a video out of it. So the research probably takes the longest. Then there's the writing part, so kind of turning the research into something coherent and enjoyable to listen to or read. Then there's the narration part, which I loathe. I hate it so much. I think I'm really bad at narrating. I've had mixed reviews. Some people like my narration, some people don't. But you can tell from this unvarnished kind of semi-raw video I'm about to send you, or audio I'm about to send you, that I have trouble speaking clearly and slowly. I kind of tend to go fast, and that is not conducive to nice, slow, pleasant narration that doesn't have a lot of hiccups and mistakes in it. So I am not a natural narrator at all. One of these days, when I get rich enough, I'm going to start hiring somebody full time to narrate my videos, because it is my least favorite part of what I do. And then after that, after the narrating part is the editing part of my narration, which is even worse. I hate it so much. Partially because I just don't like the sound of my own voice listening to it. I think most people have that problem. But also because like I said, I'm such a poor narrator that I have so many mistakes to correct. And you would not believe how long that takes me. Next part is the animation, which, it's not too bad. What I basically put on, a YouTube video or a podcast or a documentary or something that I like, and I'll listen to it, or music or something, and I'll listen to it while I make these animations, which are time consuming, but I don't mind doing them. They're kind of fun. And then I'll, assemble the video together. But I couldn't put could not put a specific time on how long it takes my videos to do. It takes time. And have I ever had any stories that I felt I could not tell? Yeah, there are some. You said too dark or too violent or whatever. Let me think about that. I mean, one of them is I have some stories.
All right, Hammerson. If you don't want the end of this to be played, now's the time to mention it. I'm assuming you didn't send anything you weren't willing to let me play. But it is a bit dark. It is a bit. It's a bit. And if you didn't want it to play, I'd understand. But it's still a good story. It really is a good tale. Yeah, no. Cheese Bear is the bestest mod ever in the history of all the worlds. She's just the bestest. All right, brother. We'll roll with it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is that put people in kind of a negative light, real people that are alive right now, and I would feel kind of bad about it. I mean, also a little worried. I wouldn't want to get sued for defamation or something. I really don't know much about that sort of thing. Yeah, I've had a couple encounters with famous people who are very different in real life than the persona that they've kind of formulated around themselves. I'm not going to say who they are, but I've had a couple falling outs and just bad experiences and nasty things that you can't talk about that sort of thing, right? It's just poor etiquette. Too dark. I like to keep my stuff. I mean, I won't even say PG, but I like to have it where where parents can read the stories to their kids. That's why if I have something that's too dark, I'll kind of put a disclaimer at the beginning of my video, and I do that in my books too. If something's kind of a little too disturbing, like I've talked about, I thought poltergeists were very, very spooky. Like they're kind of the same as stories of demonic obsession and demonic attacks, which I think I personally I find very spooky. So I'll give little disclaimers, but I like to keep things kind of semi-kid friendly, so I won't go too dark. And I have found some dark stories I won't talk about on here. I guess this isn't my channel, so I could say something about it. For example, Frank Graves, he features in my Legends of the Nahanni Valley book. He had some stories that take place in the book, and I managed to interview him back in 2018, shortly after I published my book. And he had a pretty crazy life, and I'm not going to talk about it here, but he told me a story in Philadelphia, and I have it written down, I think, somewhere, the notes on it. But he's from Philadelphia, and he told me this story about the Philly underworld. He has lots of stories about that, and you know, I don't even want to talk about it here. It's pretty dark. I guess I could say something. So there were these bookies who, well, if anybody double-crossed them, they would capture them and take them down to this basement. And Frank says he's been in this basement. He kind of found it after the fact. He heard rumors about it, kind of did his own snooping around, his own detective work, and found this place years later. And I don't think he ever told anybody else about it, or didn't tell at least the authorities about it, I don't think. But he found this kind of dungeon in this house where people who kind of crossed these bookies would be abducted, taken down to this basement, and executed. And the way they would be executed was it was this weird, like, I don't know if it was supposed to be satanic, but it sounds pretty satanic to me. They'd get these models, these women, or maybe prostitutes or something, and they would be naked, and they would kind of slowly torture these guys to death, naked. And it was like for the sexual gratification of these bookies who would kind of be down there and watch the thing unfold and get kind of a weird sexual pleasure out of it, which is just diabolical to me, I think. But yeah, that's one dark story that I would never talk about in one of my books. I kind of stay away from sexual stuff. That's not for kids, and I like to have kids be able to read my stuff, so I'm not going to talk about that. There are some stuff people would argue, like sometimes I'll use the old-fashioned language, like I'll say the word squaw when reading a quote from some old source, which wasn't offensive at the time it was written a lot of the times, but people still get offended by it today, and I get comments from First Nations people who are upset that I use it, but it's sorry, that's history. If that offends you, then maybe history's not your thing. So yeah, some people would say that's inappropriate for kids. Another thing, like a lot of the stories I write about are quite gruesome, violent, which maybe this is controversial, but I don't think that's too traumatizing for most children. If it was stuff like torture and mutilation and stuff like that, it might be a little different. But I think most kids, I just think of myself, like when you're a little kid, violence, killing, and stuff like that, as long as it's not too sadistic, I don't think it's that traumatizing. I just remember it being myself as a kid. I remember thinking, like, adults are so worried about sheltering us about this sort of thing. It's I can handle it. It's not that bad. With that in mind, I don't, I'm not too worried about kids reading violent things happening in my books, which happen sometimes. Yeah, like I said, if I wanted to, I could go on forever and ever about how I got into this sort of thing, but I don't think that's really of interest to most people, so I'll leave it out in this video. But yeah, I hope that you get something out of this and that people enjoy it. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Fantastic. So tell me, Tom, what dost thou thinketh about this? Get that hid. All right, we got that up next. My man done went and hid in the corner. He's having some kind of a love fixation on his pizza over there.
I'm alive. I'm here.
He's alive. Well, are you refurbished?
I'm the tank's full, ready to roll.
Full, ready to roll. I guess you up here. All right, So yeah, there was a little peek behind the curtain, I suppose. Just a little look behind the way. I was very entertained by it. I actually kind of like a lot of his earlier material before he got quite so fluid with all of it. Even though it is a little bit, I enjoy the stories, I enjoy the tales, and the fact that somebody's putting that down and making it watchable and entertaining. I think that's awesome. I love every bit of that. I mean, I got a few other videos set up for one of them is one of them that you illustrated.
Oh, Wendigo one?
Yeah, I figured I'd throw it up on mute, let it play.
Oh, so people can see the horror.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig a lot of that work that was on. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the one that I come looking for you. That's cool. I really dig it.
Yeah, I've done 2 for them. There's the orange one and there's the blue one.
The following video deals with mature subject matter which may not be suitable for younger children. Viewer discretion is advised.
That thing comes in way hot.
Ancient native legend has it that an evil, man-eating entity prowls the woods of eastern Canada, the timberland of the Canadian Shield, and the forests of the Canadian North. For centuries, tales of these North American ghouls were the exclusive
I just love it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
domain of lonely.
I dig the openings he does, especially the ones where he includes like the trigger warnings and stuff, because the suddenness of it so dynamic. It's like, all right, dude, yeah, okay,
I got it, man.
creepy shit code, right? Like
Stuff's creepy.
That was real creepy. You snuck right up on me with it. I clicked it, didn't know it was gonna happen. But
Oh yeah.
I dig a lot of these. See if I can get this down in a little bit of a. No, that's pretty much the top of it right there. But where are we at?
Oh no. I'll mute my mic one.
Yeah, there we go. That's cool. I really dig that.
Thank you.
I don't really understand what I'm seeing because it's like it's drawn. Like my eyes don't want to make it be a thing, but I see it being a thing, and at the same time, it's not really the thing that I see it being.
Oh yeah.
Ism. That is just the awesomest. I've been playing with the idea of trying to put some background music in these, but every time I've messed with it, no matter what I do, that background music comes in so hot. Even gaining it all the way back, it doesn't cover the floor noise of my microphone. It completely bowls it over.
Shit.
I don't understand. I've got some weird sound issues happening with this setup that I haven't quite worked out, but it's what I got to work with. So that's what we're going to do is work with it, right?
Of course.
I really dig the tonal quality on this. All of his videos have a slightly different sound to them. Some are a little crispier, some are kind of boxier, but the sound seems to lend, or at least in my opinion, seems to kind of blend well with the individual illustrations that go along. There's not a whole lot of difference between the individual edits. I mean, I imagine he could probably hear a bunch of difference. I know that when I'm going back and looking at my material, I can always like pick out the fine little detail issues that I don't like. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like this. I can really, really criticize my crap like nobody's business. It's all wrong. Oh, that's terrible. Everybody else is like, I don't see a problem. Like, you don't see the problem. That's supposed to be there. This is supposed to be like this. That's supposed to be higher. This shouldn't be.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're always your own worst critic.
I really do feel that way, and I think in his case at least, his self-criticism is the reason why he does such immaculate content. Because I mean, his transition work is flawless. I was looking at some of the editing fingerprints in there, and that's why I didn't go back and cut it at all, because anything I did with it just felt like I was messing it up. Like I went in and I chopped it up several different ways. When I got done, every time I was like, that's not as good as the whole thing. And I love. I must have watched it 3 dozen times, man. Just, I'd put it into the editor and chop it up this way and that way and look at it and, try to, I played with the idea of pulling the questions out and doing the show as if he was here live and just gimmicking it that way, sort of, not really, but, it was a thought. But instead, when I finally came down to it, I got to thinking about it. I went, well, if Tom will come up and he'll talk to me, then that would serve as at least a reactionary guest, and we could still pitch the channel and do the whole shill thing that I like doing for channels, and it should be copacetic, man. I mean, it should work.
Heck yeah.
Here we are. We're at 42 minutes. We got like another 10 minutes to chop it out, and we got an episode. Everybody can pack up and go home, and I can play my jingle. I mean, not trying to rush nobody. I'm just saying these things take for freaking ever to actually kind of plan out, but then the actual doing of it happens so quick that most of the mistakes get swept under the rug so fast you don't even realize they're there in post.
Sounds a lot like painting.
Well, I suppose you could always do another coat. That doesn't work in editing. But I can't put another coat on it, man.
This is true.
I mean, artists forever have reused canvases.
Oh yeah, I paint over old stuff like all the time.
That's right. All right, so I found a couple other things. I went digging way, way back into the Hammerson Peters vault, and I found.
Oh, actually, you see that little design at the bottom of that album cover thing?
The little doohickey right here.
Little it's like a little digital looking.
Yeah. I see.
I did that. That's a Métis sash. I did it digitally.
That's super cool. This is a little tune, and it's liable to get us copyright, but he can have it. It's his episode anyway, so I don't see where that's a problem. It's only about 27 seconds long, but I think it's one of the neatest tunes in the batch. I've listened to most of them. This one kind of sticks in my head a little bit. I don't know why it is. Maybe that's it. Stop before you start and don't start again. I mean, I screwed you up. Got a crazy story for you. When me and my wife got married, we had some issues with the dating of our honeymoon, and it got shifted back. I upset one of Cheese Bear's dogs. Oh no. But anyway, so our honeymoon ended up happening like 2 weeks after we got married. So basically, I got married, left, went back to work. I worked for like another 2 weeks before we got the beach house to be able to go and do our 2-week honeymoon. First night we were there, or should I say, the first morning we got there that night, slept that night, woke up the next morning. I was awakened at dawn by bagpipes on the beach. And I was laying there dead asleep. And Rachel sat up next to me and went, "What in the?" And I said, "Outlawed tunes on outlawed pipes. I need coffee." And I got up, walked down the stairs, and she come down the stairs wrapped up in a blanket, looked at me, and she said, "Did you just quote Braveheart at 6 in the morning?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I did." Got my coffee and walked out to the beach, went and stood and watched a dude in full Highland regalia play bagpipes at dawn. And I did it every morning he was there for the next 5 days until one morning he wasn't there.
Fantastic.
It was amazing, dude. What was really, really cool is when we went on our honeymoon, there was a tropical storm. Andrea was blowing around out there in the Gulf Stream and just couldn't decide which way it was going to go. And it would range between being a category 1 to a category 4 and back down again to a category 1 over the course of 2 weeks. For 5 days during that 2 weeks, there was a 2-story dock that had been disconnected from somewhere else that had washed up on the beach over there. He had gotten up on the 2nd floor stairs landing, which was all that was left of that part of it. And that's where he was up there laying bagpipes at dawn. And
that's a serious vibe.
It was a very serious vibe. My wife found one of the largest shark's teeth I've ever seen someone actually find. You find them in shops and stuff, and you can go get them in places where they're huge. But she found one the size of my hand, just laying on the beach, like that big, just missing the tip of it. The thing is enormous. And the third day we was there was the aft section, the aft castle of a ship washed up on the beach, and a couple of hours later it washed away. That was wild, man. That whole port was real weird. I went and dislocated my shoulder bodyboarding in a tropical storm.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that'll do it.
It was right off the coast right there, and from 1 hour to the next, you never know whether it was coming or going. And when it was coming, them waves would come in 30 foot high, and you could body surf no problem. When it was going, it was like it sucked all the energy out of the waves, and one wave might be 30 foot high, the next one would be 2 foot. It's really weird, really strange seas, and everything was hunky-dory till the tide changed, and that slammed me up on the beach like God himself. Dislocated my shoulder and misplaced one of the vertebrae in my back.
Flopping like a fish on the beach in pain.
Yeah, like a caveman killing a fish. Sure did. The only saving grace was when that wave tipped me over, I put the boogie board between me and the beach. I was able to flip it because what happened is it came up on a curl, and the curl outran the base, and I was still on the curl, and I realized it, and I said, "Oh no!" I stuck it on my back and bounced off the beach. So that stuff was set like concrete, man. It was hard, really hard.
Oh man!
All right, so I got one last little Hammerson poke over here that I'm on. At least I did. Thought I did. What is this? I don't know. No, I guess I don't. I guess that's it for the Hammerson videos. Mainly because I really would rather you go and check out his content on his channel for the most part. Mainly what I'm trying to do is give people an avenue outside of the algorithm to find channels that they may like that they just don't know exist, because the algorithm takes things that you do and puts things that are similar to things that you do in front of you. And so you end up being kind of echo chamber into a certain type of content. You have to consciously think outside of your own normal patterns to be able to get outside of this very reactive algorithm. And one of the ways to do that is to ask someone else, have someone share a video, have someone send you a link, have somebody go, "Hey, have you heard of this?" And word of mouth completely breaks the algorithm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nothing they can do to fix that. So I mean, everyone out there that is that are convinced, some people think that they are shadow banned or they are shadow blocked or they are being throttled or being whatever. And maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell you. All I know is that there's certainly some weird reactivity to the algorithm, and the more you talk about certain subjects, the less that information seems to be capable of penetrating through. The way around that is to do things that are not expected by the normal YouTuber. See, this is why I think they give you all of those to help you YouTube, right? They've got all these little tutorial videos over here to help you be a better YouTuber. But one of the things that does, I'll avoid them like the plague. I really do. One of the things that does is make all of the YouTubers who go to that and try to learn to YouTube from that YouTube sphere make videos that are all almost identical to one another. Right. And so they're so similar that when you go in to look for differences in content, it's the end result that's different. That the end result is all identical. It's just the actions that are different. So like if you go and look at a garage channel, you're going to see 37 garage channels that are set up with virtually identical camera angles. And it's because they all went to the same YouTube videos to learn how to do camera angles for that type of stuff. And I'm not knocking it. That might be the best way to do it. And that's fine. I mean, I certainly told you to go look at some YouTube videos to get some ideas on some camera angles. That was exactly what I said. And I don't blame anyone for that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But going to the extreme of recreating effects from other channels or utilizing the YouTube tools in the fashion that YouTube dictates in the way they want to. Like, I noticed a funny thing. Do you know that if you put a like, comment, and subscribe YouTube logo anywhere on your video, it'll get a 15% stronger push, or around an 11 point something stronger push from the algorithm. If you can get a really big cheesy grin into your, or a beautiful woman, these are different numbers, into your thumbnail, that not only gets you more engagement and more click through, but also receives more direct push from the algorithm. So my smile is not as effective as a 23-year-old cheerleader smile, right? Why? Don't know. Maybe it's her boobs. Couldn't tell you. But the fact is, it's a true effect. So everyone who's out there in YouTube land, because Cheesy asked me a question yesterday. It took me a minute to figure out. She said, why is it that most of these professional YouTubers refuse to pay for YouTube Premium? It would be so useful. And I went, well, I mean, like and I thought like that little kid from the meme, is trying to tell you about the dream he had one time and can't get it out. And it took me a while to realize the reason we do it is we all hate the idea of YouTube being an overarching entity to assuage the powers that be. It bothers us all to the core. And there's no real way to change that from inside YouTube. But what you can do is behave differently as an individual. When you think about, hey, I bet so-and-so would like this video, maybe they would, but YouTube's not going to tell them, right? They're going to show them Tucker Carlson or Hannity or CNN or something else like that. I don't know about you, but after every single video, the autoplay is automatically either CNN or Fox News. I hate them both. I've never clicked on a single Fox video or a single CNN video, not on purpose. Maybe in my pocket, but not intentional. I don't know. And I know you just don't like ads. I get that. And the fact is, I kind of feel like that's the purpose of their content, is to produce ads like that. If YouTube is going to abuse the privilege of utilizing content that's not monetized to place ads on it, I'm going to take the moment to freaking skip it. Because I'm an asshat.
Fair enough.
So what I'm saying is, when it comes to channels like Hammerson Peters, he has a significant following. He has an awful lot of people behind him on this whole situation. he can't really afford to get out there and get jiggy with it and shake it up, which he has no need to. You know, he has his content kind of metered out and how he likes to do it, and that's fine. Us new YouTubers cannot follow him in and perform with any type of equivalency. If you go and look at these people who have 40, 50, 100,000 subs, these people have had channels for 10 years and they have maybe had 5 channels. Now, it's rare to come across somebody who hasn't run afoul of the guidelines at least once or twice. It's very easy to do and may even be inevitable depending on how they decide to manipulate the terms of service. Because when you posted a video 2 years ago and suddenly it violates terms of service, I don't believe that should be an auto strike. I believe that should be a, hey, that violates terms of service. Oh, I didn't know, my bad. I'll remove it. I'll edit it. I'll change it. I'll do something, whatever it takes. But just an auto strike just seems kind of blunt weapon to me. So I don't really do the whole free speech thing on my channel. That's not even really an option. I'm a huge free speech advocate. I really am. But YouTube is not.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Even
not
the
news.
step out of line is just not shilling for your channel or not shilling for your friends' channels, or I mean, even if you don't like the channel, somebody else might like it. I mean, that's the whole point of that share button, is to utilize it, is to use it, is to try to get information out that most people don't have or unaware of. You know, like your channel, where you have this really neat, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but we all know it's a gimmick. You're painting food. That is fantastic, dude. That's an excellent interest. And dude, that's like moving through the room like an ambulance driver. That's awesome. I love it. I've never seen anyone else do it.
That's why I did it. I was thinking about it, like, if I've never heard of anyone doing this, why not give it a shot?
Have you ever heard of anybody literally shilling channels for funsies?
Shilling channels for
Straight
fun?
up shilling channels. That is what this show is. I'm literally going to do next season as Sasquatch shills. Because it started as being an interview of creators to get to know them, and really what the creators really want to do without being an asshole and without stepping on anybody's toes is promote their content, which is exactly what I want to do. So why should it step on anyone's toes? So I thought, well, if they show up and they try to like post their links in my chat, it's going to look like spam unless I can put enough links in my chat so that the bots can't see it as spam, because that's all that's in there. And I generate 36% higher engagement through the links dropping, because people either click the link or don't click the link, or sub or don't sub, or whatever they do. But that's not a comment. Somebody's going to have to say something else in between them to figure out what they're going to do next.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to try to figure out how to do some kind of, I don't know. I kind of want to include a game into the show at some point. I haven't quite figured out how yet, but I just got to hold the StreamYards, like the actual pay package. And there should be some way in there for me to set up a little roulette wheel or something. I also want to do some sound bites. I'm going to go get some Robert Heinlein quotes, like Lazarus Long and his various main characters, some Asimov quotes, Arthur C. Clarke quotes. I might try to snatch some Hammerson Peters quotes. I cannot say his channel name right.
Hammerson Peters.
Hammerson Peters. Very well. You know what, folks? We pretty much managed to make it all the way through a show without any major disasters.
Just the pizza.
Well, you know, that's all acceptable. I knew you were going to be kind of rushed for time. I mean, we were already backing the show up an hour just to get you in here. Honestly, I really wanted somebody along for the ride, because I don't know of any other videos he's put out, and I haven't been able to find a single interview that the man's done. And so, like, more power to you. I full on respect you for it. That's great. If you can manage to maintain your anonymity in the world, go for it. by all means, more power to you, brother. I can't do it. I tried it for about 6 hours, and after realizing that that would require basically double shooting everything I do so that I could do it with a filter, because I went and found me a Sasquatch filter to put on, and then I thought about it and went, no, but a Sasquatch wouldn't use a filter, or rather would use a filter to look like a person.
Fair
That's
enough.
what it says in my bio. I found a smartphone and I use a person filter to meet people. Meet Hammerson Peters. Need an abstract look.
Yeah, one day I'll come over to your place to have a beer someday, and you'll turn out to be a full-on Sasquatch. 8 feet tall.
No,
Oh,
we
hey,
don't
Tom, what's up?
big out here. We don't. We got the skunk ape and we got Caucasian Sasquatch. They top out at around. I described the skunk ape I saw. I described as a European footballer. That man was a bikini wax away from voting. A good shave would have done him a world of good. That's all I gotta say. I mean, a Brazilian wax, and he'd have been a Democrat by the end of the week. I swear to God, they had him in the roof. Ain't no joke. It was a pretty cool event, but I mean, you know. I've always kind of suspected it was actually a hobo in a fur coat. You know, I mean, I 50-50 shot. He was a strapped hobo in a fur coat. Let me tell you. Like I said, 6'4", 6'5" European footballer running around naked in the swamp.
Jeez.
Middle of summer, I'll pass. I just didn't even mention to nobody for a few years. And when I finally did, they were just like, well, you know, they've been back there and ain't no reason to bother them or nothing. I said, I wasn't bothering nobody. I was just trying to leave as soon as I realized it was over there. I was just like, oh, this is yours. Bye. My bad. Later. I'm out.
Oh my gosh.
How you feel about it, dude? What you got planned? What you got coming up? What you got going on?
What I got going on?
Yeah.
Oh. I think I'm going to do that Pollock painting on my live stream. I've been slacking on the food painting, but I got to like get something going soon. Again, probably next weekend is what I'll be shooting for, because school semester's finally ending this week, and I'm taking this next semester off because it's only a winter semester anyway. So I'll be working for my day job anyway, but I only work 3 days a week because it's an internship. But yeah, I'll basically have a lot more time to do some of the stuff I've been wanting to do with my channel. Like, I want to make more of those videos that are just meme edits of my food stuff, and really get some actual production value, because part of my job, my day job now, is I make videos. Like I produce videos and I do graphic design. So like, my skills have increased.
Well, I just, man, I can't even get my lower thirds to work in OBS. That's just broken trash. I don't know what the hell is wrong with it. Like, I had it working, an update happened, and now nothing works. None of it. I had a little, you know, a little tune, and it'd pop up, Caucasian Sasquatch, you know, like, comment, share, subscribe, the whole thing. I had it all worked out, and then an upgrade happened. An update happened. I lost all the sound and all of my media, which is why I no longer utilize media to do it unless I set it up immediately before play.
Yeah.
If at all possible, rather than playing it in-house, I'll stream it from exterior, because that seems to sound better, as crazy as that sounds.
Weird.
It is weird, but it works. Hey, Dragonette, let's run through and do a hello to everybody in here, and then we'll play us out, and we'll be done for the show, and we can do the after hours bit. You ain't got to stick around for that. It's probably only going to be about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get ready for my my stream at 9 here. So,
all right, I'm back up a pretty good bit here and see what we got. Thank you for coming in, Robin. Just Robin, Ellie. Glad to see you. You're still a mod, by the way. I'm not going to take that way until I run out of mods. I mean, I try to tell people, my guests, when they come in, I'm like, look, man, I got a bunch of mods. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, all of my previous guests are mods in most cases. And most of my new guests get to be mods a week before they come in. So the premiere, whatever show happens before, I try to make them a mod at that premiere so they can post their links then and be at the actual live stream already modded. but that doesn't always work that way. Like Mexican Longhair just was too busy for all of that. He wasn't having it. Northwest Kentucky Audits is in here. He showed up. Dragonette Transparency as well. How are y'all doing tonight? Mexican Longhair came in, and we had a few other folks back at the beginning who popped in. Keeper of the Lists, Jen Wow. I dig it. Judd, he's here. If he sticks around long enough, he's going to be a mod. Because I like people to post links, and he's quick. He, she, them, they, it, them, babies, whatever they call themselves. I don't care. They're good at what they do. I approve 100%. Care if they're from Alpha Centauri.
I need to get more mods for my channel.
Well, you need people first.
Yeah.
One mod does fine for around 10 people coming in, it's no problem. My channel, don't, like I keep telling you, do not compare your channel to mine. Your channel's different. We have different content. We have different methods. We have different schedules. We have different types of stuff. You wouldn't believe the number of emails I go through in a week trying to find somebody to come up and sit and bullshit with me for 58 minutes or so. Wit Bits with Ross Kahn. She does a giveaway show. She does a call-in panel. She does all kinds of wacky stuff on her show. She's the one that I got the idea of having some type of a weird little game show to go along with the show. Like, I was kind of thinking about doing a like one of those guess the picture where you start off super focused in on it, and do a few videos. We talk about your channel or the guest channel or whatever, and every few minutes I zoom out a little bit on it, a little bit more, just put it over here. I got this space over here under my picture, under my camera, that's just, I don't know, it's not big enough for the chat to be in, but I don't know, it just seems all kinds of empty. Yeah. Oh yeah. Where's it at? This man. Oh Lord, I lost it. I lost all of it now. Things are moving too fast for me. I'm a boomer. I'm boomering it all up. Then wow, we got Northwest Audits, Mr. Self-Destruction. I think that's it. That covers everybody. If I missed you, chat now. Hammerson Peters was here himself, the man of the hour. Yeah, he himself made an appearance. He is a mod, whether he likes it or not. He doesn't get to make a decision on that. He made an appearance, and I caught him. It's like Cookie Mine. I got to catch them all, man. I'm really hoping. I'm really waiting. Yuri and Antoinette is one of the very first channels that I modded for, and one of the very first channels that I took an actual interest in to try to help grow. She was originally doing Yuri's prison stories. I don't have a link for her handy, but I was her very first sub, and I was also basically the first little foot soldier out there trying to get people to come and check out the prison channel,
Mm-hmm.
So she agreed to come on the show at some point in time. I can't remember what the threshold was. She told me, she said it was some way you get this many and that many, and I'll come on there. And I was like, okay, thank you, Mama Yuri, I appreciate it. That'll be pretty cool. She's bigger on TikTok than she is on YouTube, but she still has a pretty significant following on YouTube. I'm gonna try to go dig up. She's got a few videos that she's got where she has these like really deep conversations with herself. She wanders away from the prison content and goes to what she more does now, which is like true crime type stuff. I've got what's the name of that one? Cheese. What's the name of this Keto and Crime? Drop her link in the chat if you will, please. She's supposed to be coming up next Thursday. I'm going to be showing her channel. She's a comedian, a stand-up comic. She does a few skits and whatnot on her channel, but mostly, for the most part, she covers various types of solved, unsolved, unusual, strange, or just interesting crime. And sometimes dieting videos, various descriptions. Some of her humor is kind of dry. Some of it's pretty freaking funny, if you ask me. Like it was delivered so deadpan that you didn't even realize it was a joke. And me and 3 other people listened to it at the same time, and I laughed so hard I cried. Both of the other 2 looked at me and was like, "What?" I'm like, "You're not from Southern Alabama, are you?" They're like, "No, not really." I was like, "That's why that's not funny to you." I'm not from Alabama either, but I know the type. You get a vision when you hear somebody's from the foothills of Georgia or the foothills of Alabama. You get this buck-tooth, hayseed, redneck, hillbilly concept wearing overalls, smoking a corncob pipe. You know what I mean? Like, there's just this stereotype that was
The
built in.
Appalachian.
Exactly. Appalachia.
Appalachian.
Yeah.
Don't get it side-goggled.
Say Appalachian, we'll throw an Appalachia. That's how you know how to say it right. You know, just in case you happen to be in the neighborhood. I'm actually a little bit south of any actual Appalachian extent. We're in what's called the Piedmont, which is not technically mountains and not technically plain, but kind of in the foothills. So I'm literally a hillbilly. Can't help. Just born this.
Well, the school I went to is in the New River Valley.
The New River Valley.
Well, I guess Shenandoah Valley is technically, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know. That's over there in like
Virginia. Northwestern Virginia. Northwestern, yeah, I think.
You do realize that's only near the south.
Yeah, I know. It's technically below the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. I stand corrected or sit very funny looking anyway. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean, that's the show, folks. I mean, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope, I know it was kind of a strange format, not my usual gimmick, but I've had a lot of people who said they didn't want to come up on a live stream, but were willing to film something or produce something or make something, you know, if I was interested. Hammerson was the first one that I decided to take him up on. And I'm kind of glad I did. I really enjoyed the video he sent me. I really like kind of getting a little tiny little peep behind the curtain, maybe. And I really, really enjoyed sharing it with you. Honestly, I like having you along for the ride and your pizza eating.
Thank you.
I'm very glad that you got to eat your pizza.
Man, the Hammerson curtain is pulled all the way back for me.
Yeah, okay, well, and I'm not sure I want it pulled all the way back.
No.
Honestly, you never know what's behind the curtain. You just don't know. As soon as you meet your heroes, you either die young enough to die a hero, or you live long enough to become the villain. So sometimes what you don't know is as much about the respect you have for a person as what you do know.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I like his content. I like his videos. So, you know, if you like to hear a story, or if you've got a long day trip or drive coming along, just no joke, just tune into Hammerson Peters and let him just don't go to sleep. I have a problem of putting him on and waking up like 4 hours later listening to somebody else talk.
Yeah, he
usually Carson.
Yeah, I don't know. He should definitely do a podcast, but like he doesn't like to talk live. I think he'd do a good podcast.
Why he doesn't like to talk live. I can respect that. I can dig it. Inevitably, I say something stupid at least 3 times a podcast, and whenever I go back through and editing, it's one of the reasons why I always run about 15 minutes over. So I have a little bit extra floating around so that when I go back and edit stuff,
tighten it all up.
Short episode, you know, so I get a little filler. And if I don't need it, I don't need it. I'll send the whole thing out. But yeah, this will be premiering with my edits and my little additions that I do probably Tuesday, and we'll be having Keto and Crime Thursday, assuming nothing goes wrong with all of that.
You say Keto and Crime?
Keto and Crime. She has like, yeah. No, that was the reaction that I had. I was like,
is that exactly what it sounds like?
Yeah, pretty much. She's a comedian, so yeah, pretty much. She was doing some diet stuff, and then decided to do comedy on her channel, and then she decided to do crime, and drink coffee, and coffee and crime was already taken. So she decided to go back to the diet thing and keep doing the crime thing. And she's toting around 5,000 subs. She's not doing bad. So
Not bad at all.
subbed up to her. I've been watching a little bit of her content. I've got 6 days, almost 5 days to cover some ground on her content. Her very first video is pretty funny. It got me giggling. If you get bored, you got about 2 minutes to kill. Just go check out Keto and Crime's first video. It's a stand-up comedy routine that just sort of tickled me pretty good. So I'm gonna pop up my my little play out rhythm that I do. I'm gonna move it into the proper location so that it covers everything up and you can't hear me anymore and stuff. Where's it at? There it is. This one. This is the one I want. I want it all the way up here at the top so that it'll do this thing. Tom, peace out, brother. Appreciate
Catch
you
you
coming.
later.
You came by. Go check out Hammerson Peters. If anybody wants to do an episode, my email address is caucasiansasquatch@gmail.com. Tom, you want to drop a link or a?
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me throw it in the chat here real quick.
Fantastic. I'll play us out.
Sounds good.
Fantastic evening, my brother.
You too.
And you know what I say about all this? Well, fuck that shit. I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
That's not you. Look, if hypothetically you are running down a dark alley and you are being chased by a mugger, it wasn't better running away from the mugger than tripping over your feet and having them stab you. You don't go back in time and say, oh my gosh, if only I were only running from this guy. That's not better. That's just the inevitable conclusion catching up to you. Pull out your gun, turn around, and shoot the dumb fuck.
Killer! Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face!